So when it comes to budget options for the dual triangle, I say this with pretty much every event. The easiest way to get through this if you don't own a deck yourself is to just play one of the loner decks. Thankfully, Dual Triangle is the one event that has by far the most loner decks out of any other event. There is a total of 9 different loner decks in this event that you can pick and choose from. So you don't have to, sift through your own collection, see what cards you're missing or not. Maybe craft an SR or two if you're missing them, or maybe purchase like a structured deck that you were planning on buying later. You don't have to do any of that stuff if you just play a loner deck. Now, that being said, some loner decks are better than others. So loner decks are not created equal. So I will briefly go through all 9 of these and give you my opinion on them. Some of these are decks that I have literally never even considered playing at all. So you'll have to excuse me on my my thoughts on a couple of them. But yeah, to start with the fusion loner decks. By the way, how this works is that the point totals. So if you care about getting the title, if you care about getting all the cosmetics, yes, you do get titles and unique rewards for getting points in each of these 3 groups: Fusion, Xyz, and Links. But I don't think they affect gems. If you only care about gems, it doesn't matter what group you play in. You can just play until you get up to 2,000 points from any group, and then that's it. You don't need to actually play in any different group. You don't need to swap groups or anything. You just play whatever you want. If you want the titles, if you want all the cosmetics, yes, you will have to play through all 3 groups. But if you don't own a deck for all 3 groups, then it's understandable. It's not probably a higher priority for you. So you don't have to switch around. Even if you find one deck that's suitable for you, you don't have to complete the event by playing other decks too. That's only if you really want to, or if you're a completionist like me. But yeah, so the fusion loner decks, personally I think the fusion loner decks are the weakest, and they also have the worst matchup spread in my opinion, because you're going to be playing against Xyz and Link decks, and I think Link decks for the most part are going to be the strongest decks in this format, because one, they include 2 of the strongest decks I think, which are Sky Striker and Orcus, but also because there's so many different Link based decks. A lot of people are going to have a well built Link based deck, and Xyz is I'm not sure about Xyz. There's a lot less variety with Xyz decks, but the Xyz decks that are legal are kind of annoying, or Pearly, just towers and stuff like that. But yeah. Anyways, the fusion loners, which you will never play against another fusion deck, hopefully, in this event. We have first Cyber Dragons / Cyberdark, which honestly, looking at this deck list from a glance, I don't understand how this deck was built, because this bottom row is all one-ofs, which I don't and they're not one of engine cards. They're 1 Lightning Storm when Lightning Storm is at 2, 1 Triple Tactics Talon, 1 Thrust, which, okay, sure, you could argue that, okay, you have a bunch of board breakers to search off a Thrust, but the Thrust is at 1 copy, and then you have 1 Forbidden Droplets as a 40th random card. What is this? What is this deck building, Konami? I don't understand. But yeah, there were new cards recently for Cyber Dragon in the newest pack, not the newest pack, but the pack the end of October pack, with the Dragonmaids and the Super Quants. I'm trying to even remember what was in that pack, but yeah, the BES stuff, the cards that people probably remembered least, or forgot was even in that pack, was the fucking Cyber Dark cards. We have Cyber Dark Worm and Cyber Jormungandr. Is this even a new card? I honestly could not tell you if this card was even new, but yeah, whoops. So I read Cyber Dark Worm, and I'm if you read this card, it's literally circular, and that seems to be a way that Konami has been just giving support to older obsolete decks. It's just, how do you fix a deck? You give them a circular. I don't think that's enough to even save Cyber Darks, unfortunately, but yeah. Also, it's kind of weird because you're playing Cyber Dragons, but there's no Xyz. So you're missing any Infinity Dragon plays. So I feel like this was designed to be a blind second deck, because I, I don't know. Going first, it seems like so. Well, what do you even end on going first? Cyber Eternity Dragon? Do you have this? No, that does nothing. He has the mechanical Dawn. If this card you can activate during when your opponent activates a spell, you can banish one. Oh, negate a spell trap. Yeah, okay. This is clearly designed to be a blind second deck. I get it now. There's no fucking Cyber Dark Towers you're trying to end on. This is a deck that you blind second with. Okay, I understand. So not sure I like the non-engine ratios in that case, because you don't have many dedicated going second cards. You have Raigeki, Duster, Lightning Storm, Tactics, which is not even really a going second card by itself. Like, it doesn't do enough. One thrust, by the way, and one droplet. That's your only dedicated going second cards. And I guess the argument is that Cyber Dragon is also a going, like, itself in itself is a going second engine, sort of, because you can link off your opponent's monsters in the EMC for Chimera attacks. So if you play against a link deck, you can link them off. But yeah, I could see you stealing a couple games versus Striker, because Striker would also be wanting to blind second. So if you quote unquote win the coin flip and make Striker goes first and they're playing the blind second variant, then yeah, you could probably OTK them through the minimal board they put up. Although it's a bit well, yeah, you do have access to a Kaiju as well, so you can like search a Kaiju too to turn off their spell and traps. Yeah, I can see this deck winning when it goes second versus blind second Striker, which is probably going to be one of the more common decks you play against. Orcust, funnily enough, Orcust is all machines, so don't know if that's going to be enough. Like, just being able to contact future opponent's monsters. Like, yes, you can make infinite Chimera attacks. You don't even have to make them the Mega Fleet. You can just make a bunch of Chimera attacks, and like that would be that's a very funny matchup now that I think about it, because they're going to be playing pure Orcust, because there's no mids, can't really play Mitsurugi or Fiendsiv that well, so there's just a lot of machines for you to contact out. So yeah, this deck might be cooking a bit more than I initially gave it credit for as a blind second deck. I do not pick going first with this deck. This deck does not do jack shit going first. I'm realizing, but yeah, blinding second. You might have some funny game states against Striker and Orcust. So like, let me know how that goes. I actually might be tempted to try this out just to troll some Link opponents. But yeah, that's a competent loner deck based on some matchups. I don't know how it's going to go against the Xyz deck. So I'm going to assume you're going to play against Link decks more often, because those are more popular. Next we have Primite. So Primite is at full power this event, and this is like, I think this is like the first event that Primate has ever been at full power. We're all three Effort Barrel with Drill Beam legal. Like, honestly, I'm tempted to call this one of like the better loner decks, for the simple fact that it plays the Primate engine. Like, you can win games off of literally just Effort Barrel control, Effort Barrel, Drill Beam control. Like, you're just playing Primate control with a bunch of fucking vanillas in your hand, which is fine because those are reveals for Drill Beam. Like, the Primate engine alone can win you games. So yeah, like, even forget the rest of this shit. Even if the rest of the deck is like looks like complete ass, which it I mean, there's fucking 3 Red Eyes Black Dragons in this deck. Like, Jesus Christ. So of course, what the fuck? And like, King of the Swamp, and like Polymerization, and like, you're playing Primite Fusion for Primite Nether. I can't even pronounce this guy's name, but this card's cool-ish. It gains a 1k attack for each monster used for its fusion summon, which, let's be real, you're probably only gonna realistically give this like 1k extra attack, because Primate Fusion summons shuffling from the field and graveyard or banishment to the deck. It is not a branded fusion, so it does not fuse from the deck. It's not that good. If Primate Fusion fused from the deck, I might have this card might have been cooking a little bit, but it does have a great effect, so you can add a. I mean, it's not really that great because it adds a fucking Imperial Dragon, which Imperial Dragon is like not. I mean, okay, Imperial Dragon, low key, if you get Imperial Dragon off versus Orcust, that's gonna be hilarious, because Imperial Dragon is gonna banish all dark monsters in your opponent's graveyard, and you're gonna obviously tribute a dark monster, so tributing Dark Magician for Imperial Dragon, and then you banish your Orcus, every card in your Orcus opponent's graveyard. That's fucking hilarious. I would love to see that go off. I might I might try that out myself a little bit in one of my real decks, but yeah, the more I think about this, the Primite cards are really the carrying part of this deck. This deck has a lot of normal summons, which I'm not a fan of. By a lot, I mean it plays Keeper of Dragon Magic, which I would rather just summon Effort Barrel and get the follow-up and get like the Primite grind game going over Keeper of Dragon Matter trying to force minus super polys and stuff like that. Yes, you can make a Dragoon, but I mean, look, let's be honest. How many negates are you gonna have on a Dragoon? Or how many activations on Dragoon are you gonna have after you? Because you're gonna like fuse from hand, obviously, and then you have to discard another card for Dragoon, and then you also want to reveal a card off of, reveal a card for Drill Beam, so you don't want to discard the normal monsters necessarily. So it's like kind of weird like that. But I mean, hey man, Dragoons plus Drill Beam plus negate whose levels ranking are less than the equal to like, I mean, that's not going to be relevant for the most part. You're probably going to be negating a couple Link 1s, maybe Link 2s. So like if you go first, this deck is okay. It plays like 6 hand traps, which is not really enough, but Drill Beam is a kind of a going second card, sort of. It can help with that. I don't like that it plays double Scream and Howl. Like, when are you ever gonna search a Primite Trap over a Primite spell? That's what I'm wondering myself. But whatever. Obviously I didn't build this deck, but this deck is still probably gonna be fine. Like this is definitely competent enough. It's the problem is that this is unlike Cyber Dragon. This is a going first deck. So if you go, Sky Striker might be able to break your board a bit easily, unfortunately, so that might be a thing. That alone might make Cyber Dragon a better pick into this meta, but it is a good deck. This is not Ashen is not a good deck. I really don't like the choice that they picked for this fusion. Like, out of all the fusion decks, they have to give you fucking Ashen, and like you're probably gonna play against other decks that don't play. I mean, I guess Babel is cool. Like you can pop battles with Vados. That's actually pretty neat. Actually, assuming you just play against Orchist, like what I'm noticing is that all 3 of these loner decks have ways to just troll the hell out of Orchist, which is, which we're all for bullying the best deck in the format. So just pick any fusion deck if you just want to like make your Orcust opponent's life like a living hell. Like either contact fuse all their machines, or like fucking banish all their graveyard with fucking Imperial Dragon, or fucking just pop their Babel every single time with Vados. That's very funny. But yeah, I do not really know how to play Ashen. You're gonna have to ask like Nifrost on how to play this deck, because he's one of the few people that actually bothered learning how to play this deck. Which is like, there's a lot of cards that probably people have not read before. Oh, Chaotic Elements is like a newer card. This card's pretty good. This is like one of the cards that I know about. That's how I know that this card is notable. But it adds a level 5 or higher your light/dark pyro or aqua from your deck. This deck is entirely pyros. So like that's why you have Bonfire. So you essentially have like 3 extra copies of Bonfire of Chaotic Elements, level 5 or higher, which Hero of the Ascendant. And then if you have 3 more Pyro monsters in your grave, you can destroy them. That's a nice bonus effect, probably not too relevant most of the time. Then if your opponent controls that's not going to be relevant, because who's going to be controlling a Dark Aqua or a Light Pyro? Well, or Dark Pyro. You might be thinking Tier Elements, but Tier Elements are a fusion deck, so you're never going to play against Tier. So like, yeah, you're probably not really going to get the bonus effect. But yeah, this is a field spell deck that I couldn't really. I mean, you're fusing off your opponent's monsters, but like honestly, the best thing this deck does is that it pops the fucking Babel from your Orcust opponent, and then like they lose a bunch of shit they can do on your turn, which is very funny. This is the one fusion loner that plays Super Poly, which is like, that seems a bit stingy, Konami. Like, it's not like Super Poly is going to be that impactful because it's fucking limited anyways, but I suppose. But yeah, the theme of this deck is like Super Polying with your opponent's monsters too. And yeah, this is if you bother learning to play Ashen for some reason, I'm sure this deck will be fine into a decent amount of matchups. Again, this will probably struggle against Sky Striker But you know what loner deck won't be? Probably just Cyber Dragon. So yeah, that's like a like God. That I said quick overview. That took. I probably yapped on way too much about the Xfusion Loaners. But yeah, the Xyz Loaners on a whole, I remember the Xyz Loaners being very good for my first impressions of them. Well, a couple, well, at least a couple of them. Like first of all, Do Do, or like Ga 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 on Onomat, Do 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 Do, Go Go Go, Zubaba, Goo Goo Gaga, Onomat. This is just rank 4 spam with Utopias. Like this is literally just every card you have in here is just contributing to spamming rank 4s, which is great because this is a very simple deck. You exchange chakras. You can search this during your combo, and then like every time you exceed summon a Utopia monster, which there's like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like you can every time you exceed one of them, you draw a card. So you can like draw up to 6 cards with this. It's like pretty nuts. Just don't get drolled, forehead. But yeah, we have another circular sighting, Dododo Warrior, that circular for an actual good archetype this time. So like this is the card that's making Raizio even more toxic. But you know there are no Raizio cards, so instead you're going to be making your rank 4, so you can make like a Utopic Future, I imagine, with Utopic Future Zexo. You got the double Utopic action going on. You got Utopia Dragonar, which is gonna special summon a Hope Harbinger, so you got a spell negate too. You got a protection for your Utopia monsters via Z Leo arms. You have this is a monster effect negate, right? Once per turn you can detach. This effect activation cannot be once per turn. All this card is equipped with a ZW monster card. You can target one effect monster which will negate its effect and have it attack. So yeah, you can equip. I imagine the combo is equipping Z Leo arms to a ultimate Leo Utopia Ray, and then you get a quick effect monster negate on top of your you got like double monster negates. You got the Yoink command. You got 2 Yoinks. You got spell negates. You got Gaga Magician, which makes Utopic Draco Future very very easy because you just revive an Xyz monster from your graveyard, and then you got 2 Xyz, and then you can overlay into Utopic Future right there. Of note, I don't think you can make, be careful about this, I don't think you can make Utopic Draco Future on top of Utopic Future Zexo. Not that I've ever tried this before, but Utopic Draco Future specifically says you can summon this card by using a number F0 Utopic Future in quotation. So that's the exact card name. So even though this is like a number F0 Utopic Future, it is not the exact card number F0 Utopic Future. This is the Utopic Future with a Zexo at the end of its name. Therefore, it is not a Lego Xyz material that you can just overlay on top of for the Utopic Draco Future. So I think you have to go through Utopic Future in order to make this. But yeah, that's probably why they would include this in here anyways. But you have to just be careful of that. Don't try to be overlaying this on top of this. That's not gonna work. And yeah, all of these cards like are fucking like they read insane. They just read like go 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 Goblinberg. You just special summon another level 4 monster from deck. Like that's crazy. You got extenders out the ass. Like you could easily make a bunch of rank 4s turn 1. You double or nothing, which is the funny OTK. Like if your opponent's just not paying attention, they have a 2k attack or less monster on the field, you just make 1 rank 4 and into like Utopia double, and then into double or nothing, and then you just OTK them. So yeah, this deck is like one of the, in terms of power level, I think this is like a better competent deck than like any of the Fusion Loaners, because this deck has so many of the new automat cards, and all of the new automat cards are such high quality cards compared to like, you know, the other cards shown in the Fusion deck Loaners. So yeah, next we have Tachyon. So Tachyon, I think this deck is a bit worse than the automat deck, just because it requires you to, I think it's weaker into hand traps. It requires more to go well. But theoretically, the end board is like even better because you can search like these Tachyon Transmigrations, which are not once per turn solemn judgments that shuffle cards back into the deck. Like that's fucking insane. Like if your combo goes off, this deck is like stronger. It has probably the higher ceiling of all the loaner decks. But yeah, it's a bit weaker into hand traps because you have stuff like Safer, which are vulnerable, and then like if you sacrifice itself to like add a Tachyon Cloud Dragon, there's so many points where you can get ashed or like you can get impulsed and like your turn just kind of ends, which is like unfortunate. You have like so many more weaknesses to Droll, which because you have 7th Ash that you have to run for consistency. You have for some reason the one of Bistio package with like the one Lubellion, one Regain, one Magnuma, which is that is a choice, but yeah, you just summon a bunch of Tachyon monsters. You go Dreg-Luxion. Dreg-Luxion can add a transmigration. You go Dreg-Luxion effect into Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon to make the transmigration live. You can summon Tachyon Prime on your opponent's side of the field, trigger its effect, and then that will, I believe that triggers triple tactics, right? So if an Xyz monster is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand to either field, and if this card is no special summon, the owner of this card adds one Tachyon spell trap from their deck or hand. So you get to add your transmigration to your hand, and because this monster is on your opponent's field, a monster your opponent controls activated in effect, and then you get to trigger triple tactics talents and make that live. So, in case you were wondering, that's how that works. That interaction works out, which is fucking broken as shit if you get it off. Obviously, I'm surprised they didn't give you a thrust as well. Just go all in on this interaction, because like that's one of the things that this deck has going for it. But yeah, overall, this is like the rank 8 version of the Automat deck. The Automat deck is better at spamming Xyz, but you are still effectively just spamming Xyz with this deck. It's just your Xyz are bigger numbers. Also, the fuck is Saga of the Dragon Emperor? Like, this is such a funny card. This is one of the cards I pulled from the fucking free secret packs that we just got. But yeah, that's Tachyon, and then we have like, what the fuck is this? Christine. I'm sorry, peeps. I don't know how you do this, but this deck is, man, this deck is. I mean, Miasma Dragon is a good card. I'm not gonna lie, but this deck still feels fucking ass consistency wise. Also, the ratios: 2 Terror Top, 1 Target Tomborg. Who the hell runs 2 Terror Top when it's at 3? What are these ratios? The fucking random Elvish to Golden Lord because you kind of need more level 10 bodies to be able to make Varudras, but like Varudras is your only real endboard piece. This is also like, I don't know if this is a blind second deck, because it's not like this deck puts up an oppressive board going first, but like, so like I would imagine this is like a going second OTK deck or going second into Zeus Turbo, but this deck has double Regeki plus Duster. Like it seems like this deck is more built to be a blind second deck. So I feel like you should be blinding second with this build. Because of all the board breakers and stuff, and then in which case you have monsters that flip your opponent's field face down, so that's how you break boards and you can attack. I'm surprised there's no Book of Eclipse for some reason. I thought Book of Eclipse would synergize very well with the Cena strategy, but I don't know about this deck. I feel like the one saving grace is that because this is a blind second deck, again, you can mess with other blind second decks, and by mess with other blind second decks, I mean mess with Sky Striker by winning the coin flip and making them go second, or making them go first, and then that's how you fucking troll the shit out of Sky Striker players. I can't imagine this deck is better than the other 2 decks against like anything else that isn't a blind second deck, but yeah, this is all. Right. Again, it's like the third deck is the one that I feel like is the most underwhelming. The 3-star difficulty one. Same way I felt about the Ashen with the Fusion Loaners, but it is definitely, this is a deck that is playable, so it's it can't be that bad, right? And then for the Link decks, the Link Loaners. So Link Loaners, we have Ancient Warriors, which is this is another blind second deck. So I like how Konami is giving options for blind second decks too. So that's neat. So yeah, this is clearly a blind second deck, but this is the most obvious one. Ancient Warriors is like a blind second archetype anyways, and the fact that they gave you triple Fool Loss just indicates that. So the fact that this deck has triple Fool Loss and triple Nibiru alone kind of makes me want to like recommend this deck. Because like this deck, at least when this deck is going second, this deck has like the most going second tools. It has double Regeki plus Duster plus Heavy Storm. Would have preferred to have Lightning Storm too, but I guess Lightning Storm would conflict with the Nibiru. I mean, so I'm not sure how much I even like Nibiru because like because you're a link based deck, you're gonna be playing against fusion decks, and then fusion decks don't really care about Nibiru, especially if you Fua them. If you Fua a deck, they're never gonna play into Nibiru in the first place, so it's like, But yeah, this is basically going second deck. I don't think you will make any of these link monsters except for Ancient Warriors of Double Dragon Lords. I don't see any Tri Brigade monster in the main deck, so there's Ancient Warriors Tri Brigade, which is a way to play Tri Brigade technically, but yeah, also no Pot of Extrath seems kind of odd, but yeah, these cards, you have a Loyal Guan Yu, which is just like Cyber Dragon at home. If only your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this, and then you can destroy one of your opponent's monsters, and the special summon is not a hard once per turn, so you can special summon. If you summon the one and it gets removed, you can summon another one as well. That's neat. You have Ancient Warriors Rebellious Lu Fang, which is like one of the honestly coolest cards I've seen. So like if you cannot be normal summon, must be special summoned by controlling the highest attack Ancient Warriors monster on the field, which is it's gonna be you, because ain't nobody else in this event is gonna be playing Ancient Warriors except maybe one guy. But what are the chances of playing against the one guy playing Ancient Warriors? So this card basically just says if you control any Ancient Warrior monsters, you can special summon this, and then it's a quick effect, non-targeting pop. So that's pretty good. That's actually like quite insane. Just be careful if you don't OTK your opponent and they control a monster with the higher attack, then this goes to your opponent and you lose. But let's be honest, if you're playing this deck and your opponent and you passed with your opponent still controlling the largest monster, you're gonna lose anyways. So that was a lost cause anyways. But yeah, this card's neat. You have I believe this card, a bunch of these cards are much better going second than first. You have the OG Poplar, the ingenious Juga Kong. So if this card is added to your hand, you can special summon it, and then you can negate spell and trap cards by sending Ancient Warrior spell and trap cards. So there's the gimmick where these Ancient Warrior spell and trap cards are meant to be sent for the effects of your Ancient Warrior monsters. For example, Sun Mo sends a Ancient Warriors card to special summon or to add as Ancient Warrior monster from your deck to your hand. So the combo is with a Sun Mo, for example, is to send one card. Tanky into Sun Mo, normal summon Sun Mo, Sun Mo send Tanky is like a play you can do, but you could also send one of these spell and traps, add the Druga Kong to your hand, special summon the Druga Kong by activating the effect, and then when that effect is triggered, the Sun Mo has a second effect where if another Ancient Warrior monster effect is activated, you can return one monster your opponent controls to their hand. That's how you nice board clear. And then if you sent, for example, 3 visits, if this card is sent from the spell and trap card to the graveyard, you can special summon Ancient Warrior monsters from your hand. So you can see how if this is sent for the effect of an Ancient Warriors monster, you get to extend further. Or if you send Deception and Betrayal, if this card is sent to the grid, then target one Ancient Warrior monster on the field, change to any attribute, and if you target an opponent's monster, you can take control of it. Change it to any end, and if you can only from your hand, and if you can send this face-up card from the spell and trap zone to the graveyard, then target one Ancient Warrior monsters on the field, change it to any attribute, then if you target an opponent's monster, you can take control of it. Is there a way to get an Ancient Warrior monster on your opponent's side of the field too? It's a little weird. Chivalrous Path, your opponent specials on a monster, you can special summon. Is that the target that you can bench negate the. Okay, so this card is ass. I don't know why this is here. This card is this card sucks. Especially in a blind second deck. I don't know about this, but three visits is cool. Deception has its uses. Just by swarming the field with your Ancient Warrior monsters. I believe Leo Serena also has a insane effect. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can send a card from your hand to the graveyard, special summon an Ancient Warrior monster from your deck. So yeah, that's again another reason why you want to blind second with this deck. So you can just think about you can Leo Sands effect, send the Ancient Warriors card, special summon this sends another card, special Junior Kongs, bounce a card, bounce a bunch of cards, special this, have a spell trap negate up, summon your other big dudes, like these big monsters that you can summon out of your hand with like your 3 visits and your deception and betrayal. Like yeah. That being said, like again, you're only ever gonna make this. Don't even worry about making these. When the fuck are you gonna make a Link for a Shurag with this deck? I don't know. I don't know about that, but yeah, this also, when it's Link Summon, you get to add an Ancient Warrior monster card from your deck, and then you can send a card from your hand to graveyard, and then, you know, bounce more cards. Like, you can bounce, like, Infinite cards. This deck's pretty competent. Like, if you play a couple games to get used to it, I actually really like this deck. So, I highly recommend it. Also, highly recommend is Unchained. Just popping cards for days. This is not a blind second deck, but it is competent enough going second, and you're not going to be playing against Orchist or Sky Striker, so you know there's a positive there. You have Tour Guide. Now Maxi is banned. Fua still sucks, but other hand traps, because you have Shavara at 3, you can just pop your Fiend monsters and you can generally dodge all that stuff. Like yeah, your end boards are going to be like a Bow or Unchained Abomination with like Unchained Soul of Rage, IP Masquerena into they're cheaping it out and not giving us an SP instead of giving us 3 Yama, which, you know, I guess that's fair. Really? Come on, who the hell is gonna be playing Moon of the Closed Heaven for its intended effect for Underworld Goddess? What? I just saw that. What the hell? But okay, whatever. I mean, your main disruption is going to be like Soul of Rage linking into like something like a Unicorn to spin another card, so like you get rid of 2 cards, and then like you have a Chain Abomination popping cards. You have a Balaku, which you know, summons cards from the grave, but oftentimes you might just use this to like pop a card, and then that triggers more of your Unchained effects to pop. So yeah, this deck, not sure about the ratios. It seems like a lot of Unchained, bad Unchained monsters, like triple Soul of Rage and double Shayama seems like a lot, but only I 3 Prison, 3 of each trap also seems maybe a little excessive, because this deck only has 6 hand traps, so like that's where you might run into issue there when you go second, and like you're just playing, you have like a bunch of fucking Unchained spell and trap cards, but not enough monsters to pop. Final Bringer End Times is like very fun. I don't think this card is that good. I'm not really sure why they need to include this, but you know, it's whatever. It's just removal. You know, I would have preferred more non-engine or like more hand traps, but you know, can't complain too much. They are giving you like a bunch of URs to play for free with this deck, but yeah, this is like no U-Bells, so like this is just straight up Fiend Unchained. It's good. It's decent. You can make plays with this. It might have too many monsters, but at least if you play a deck with too much engine, at least you're not going to be breaking as much, which is like also another problem with Unchained, is that sometimes it can be bricky. I'm not sure if running more Unchained monsters necessarily fixes that problem or helps that problem, but you know, it certainly can't hurt, right? And well, next we have again, it's always the third one. The 3-star of these loners is the one I question the most. Okay, what the hell kind of Alter Guys build is Doug Zeef? Someone send this fucking deck list to Doug Zeef. Okay, I clearly there's like something going wrong here. Okay, double Conquery, which I feel like 1 is standard. Triple Silk with this, which I feel like 2 is standard. What the hell is this card? I've never seen this card in my life. And yeah, you have 3 Pukari, which is fine, 3 Maoists. This is like combo Alter Guys. This is not the set trap card Alter Guys. Also, why are you playing? Is there a reason why you play multiple Haunted Rocks? Surely 1 of these is enough, right? Like, you don't need multiples of this card, right? But yeah, this deck is comboing from into Hexia into a Adminia. So if this card is linked something, you can send out Alter Guys trap card from your deck, and then so you know, probably Protocol or Manifestation. But yeah, once one of those cards phases up during the main phase, you can send one card you control to the graveyard and target effect monster opponent controls, take advantage of it, and then, you know, it's a yoink, and then you're probably sending something like a Hextia, or like something that you gain a positive effect from. I believe, like, where's the, if this card is, you would, if you control as link zero for an alternative monster, you use it in hand, it's only a once per turn. If this link, well, this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card, that's a once per duel effect. So like, there's like very few people I know that actually play Alter Guys with the new support. Like, we'll just play Alter Guys in general, but especially like a combo Alter Guys build with new support, and not just like the back row deck. This seems like, again, this seems like so many monsters for an archetype that feels like it struggles going second. That just might be because it was a trap deck and they played a bunch of trap cards, but like, I can't imagine, you know, running less traps to trigger multi-faker with is like the play here. I'm really not sure about this deck, about this build. I know that Ancient Warriors will be at least at very minimum decent. I know Unchained at the very baseline will be decent. I'm not sure I can say the same about this fucking combo Alter Guys build, especially since like there's no cards to protect your combo. Like, there's no call by or crossout, so it's like, seems a bit fragile, while also not having the backup plan of just setting a bunch of trap cards, because if you do get stopped by hand trap and then you don't have much backing up, and then you also are playing a deck that plays a bunch of trap cards that are not great going second, also Small World, which do you really need more monsters? But look, it can't be. I feel like this is maybe still better than Ashen, or better than fucking Pistina. So, you know, I like the first two loners in the first two loners of the Link loners better than the third one, but still, it's fine. Alright, sorry, I noticed that I probably spent way too long yapping about 9 different loner decks. But the point is that between these 9 loner decks, they're all at least baseline competent in some way, and you should be able to find one that you like jive with the most and are able to, you know, get through the event with, at least get through all the gems with. You know, it's perfectly fine. These loners will suffice. But, you know, if for some reason you don't want to play one of these loners and you want to like build your own deck, but you don't have necessarily a good enough deck, you think, for one of these 3 groups, I'll show you some examples of decks that you can build for cheap, you know, aka budget options. Sorry, the word kind of escaped me, but yeah. Okay, so I wanted to show budget options for each group, Xyz, Link, and Fusion, even though obviously you don't have to play in all 3 groups. It's just, you know, giving you some more options. But this is a deck that can be used in technically all 3 groups. Right now, I'm using the ban list for Link. Now, here's the thing: I do recommend that for this particular deck, I recommend you play in Link. I also highly do not recommend you play this in Fusion, because for some reason this ban list is so weird in so many ways. Like, first of all, you see Macrocosmos, this card. For some reason, this card is at 3. Legal at 3 for both Link and Xyz. But for Fusion, it's limited to 1. How does that even make sense? Like, what kind of logic is did they forgo just to implement the Macrocosmos hit for Xyz and Link? That's why you can use 3 in those, but only 1 in Fusion. Like, what kind of synergy do Fusion decks have with Macrocosmos that warranted being limited only in here in the first place? So yeah. Anyways, don't play this deck in Fusion. And the reason I recommend playing this in Link is because this is like a back row deck. So what you don't want to play against is a blind second board breaker deck that plays a bunch of back row removal like Duster and Lightning Storm, like Sky Striker. So, you know, if you want to avoid your worst matchups, probably the most common blind second deck in the format is going to be Sky Striker, or in this event, I should say. I don't know what the format is, but this most common blind second deck in the event is going to be Sky Striker. So if you queue with this deck in the Link group, you will not face Sky Striker. hopefully this event works properly. At worst, you know, you'll face, if there's too many people playing Sky Striker, or too many people love Ray and play the Link group, at least you'll play against the Link group less than like if you were in any other group. But yeah, so that's why I recommend you play this in Links. And the extra deck, again, the extra deck does not matter. All that matters in the extra deck is that you have one so that you can banish cards for Pot of Extravagance. That's literally it. And like, I guess you could summon them off Fists of the Unrivaled Tenny. That's not really going to matter. But yeah, this is the budget build, the budget deck that's pretty much going to be, this seems to be like a staple in pretty much every event now. They've allowed Pacifis, Primite, you know, back row shit to be legal for pretty much the last like 5 events or so. So I feel like I've been recommending this deck as a budget deck for like damn near every event. And as long as this deck is still legal for events moving forward, I feel like that's not going to change. This is like low-key becoming like the Marincess 2.0 of events. But yeah, obviously there's like some upgrades you can do for this deck. Not that you would like play this deck if you didn't have a budget. I'm just saying that this is the cheapest this deck can make. You can build this deck without any URs, but obviously you probably own some UR staples that are useful in this deck's. So you know, you may not have a real deck for this event, but you probably at least have staples you can put in here that can improve this. But yeah, this deck right now, there's just 3 Mystery Shell Dragon, 1 Phantasm Spiral Dragon. You know, because these are worms, so like they work with Sword Soul Blackout. That's the only reason why. That's the main reason why you choose these as our vanillas. Triple Pots, triple Pacifist, triple Demise of the Land. Your opponent special summons a monster, you get to activate Pacifist directly, and there's your engine. Triple Primite Roar. Again, Primite Roar is just a really great card for this deck because it gets you your Mystery Shell Dragon. It gets you your Phantasm Spiral Dragon, by the way. You can special summon this from the deck, so like that's fucking neat. And then you have a huge Primite Roar target banish as well as an extra interruption on top of like making all your stuff live. You got a triple Torrential, triple Phantasm Spiral to add off the Pacifist just to pop cards. You know, like the original hand trap that's actually a trap. You have triple Trap Trick just to be able to get out stuff like Torrential and Social Blackout. It might be worth it to like not run 3 of each, like just run 2 Torrential, 2 Blackout, and put in another option for like a 3rd trap. Which, you know, if you own UR options for trap cards, you can set off Trap Trick. I would recommend those, but like for budget options, I guess Blackout and like Torrential are like 2 of the best ones. Blackout in particular. So if you banish Blackout with Trap Trick, then because the Blackout gets banished, its effect triggers and lets you special summon a Worm token to your field, and then because it's a Worm token obviously, and you set the Blackout with the Trap Trick, it immediately makes the Sword Soul Blackout live so that you can pop 2. So like Trap Trick banishing Sword Soul Blackout is like a 1-card combo for this. That's the fucking shittiest 1-card combo I've ever heard. But yeah, that's technically something you can do. I don't even recommend you do that a lot of the time because you cannot normal summon effect. That's fine. This is not an effect monster or something. It's just like, you know, I don't know. I don't know if you're that desperate, but yeah, technically I don't. As long as there's not any restriction, I'm thinking of that summoning a Sword Soul token would conflict with, because it is a token, so it's a non-effect monster. So like it should be fine to summon a Blackout token with this, or a Sword Soul token with Blackout, in which case then yeah, you can just get the pop 2 for free essentially. Triple Solemn Warning because Solemn Judgment is banned, but you know, just go first forehead. Triple Solemn Warning, triple Fist of the Unrivaled Tenny for those random. I'm not sure you need 3 of this, I'm gonna be honest. Because if you're playing Link group, then you're probably not expecting to face as many blind second decks. So like, what do you really need this for if you're not expecting to have any dusters or board breakers? But you know, I guess the loners we saw did play them, so you know that's a thing. Triple Draco Utopian Aura. This is just Solemn Strike, a budget Solemn Strike that you can get from the Galaxy Eye structure deck. So, you know, just three of those, and then of course the aforementioned Macrocosmos. The extra deck does not fucking matter. I just put in my Tenny extra deck because if you're really BMing your opponent, you can do Tenny plays because all of these are worms. So you would never do that, but like it's something you can do. And like, obviously to make this deck better, If you own Primite cards make this deck better, especially Effort Barrel. Drill Beam, for example, is legal. So if you have Lorely Load and Effort Barrel, you can play Drill Beam control of this deck. So like imagine this deck with like fucking Drill Beam axes. That sounds pretty scary. You can play both Dominus cards in this deck because like who cares about effect monsters? The only effect monster you would ever run is like fucking Effort Barrel. So like you can run Dominus Impulse and Dominus Purge, both of these, and they will usually pop cards because look at all the traps you're running. You can also play Songs of the Dominators because again, who the fuck? I'm not sure if you have room to play all this, but technically you can play Songs. You can play all 3 Dominus or Dominator / Dominus trap cards, and then Songs of the Dominator because you have lots of trap cards in Engraver. Songs can search another Dominus trap card, and you don't care about the fact that you can't use monster effects. So yeah, that's actually I mean, I don't expect many people to have this card, but like if you do and you're looking for a deck to try this out in, this was just like the perfect example. Obviously, there's other trap cards you can play like Solemn Strike. It's just a better Solemn Warning used most of the time, and specifically. Trap deck target is Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon because this deck, you might have noticed this deck does not really have a clean out to Liger Dancer. It's not that Liger Dancer does anything to you in particular, but it's just like I don't really think you have a way to out that big monster like that. So the Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon just outs Liger Dancer because you just anything that doesn't flip face down, your opponent must send to the graveyard and like. By game mechanic, so Karma Cannon is an out to, it's a dumb ass lawyer reason out to towers like Liger Dancer, but yeah. So if you own the room mechanics, you can put them in here too. But yeah, this is an example of like just the deck that you can play in all groups, a generic budget deck, it's like. Probably going to be the go-to budget deck for most people going forward because they don't seem to be wanting to hit this deck. This is like becoming the new True Draco. This is like True Draco but better. Okay, and now for an actual Link deck. So you knew this was coming, right? It's a Link event. Marincess is legal. Therefore, this is going to be the go-to budget deck like every event. Like I feel like every damn near event, I'm just recommending Marincess and Pacifis like every time they're legal, which is like most of the time now because we're past the point where we have to hit Marincess on the ban list. Like remember those events where Marincess cards were literally limited because this deck was too strong. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, this is Marincess. This is the core you need. The rest, you see there's only 22 slots. That means you have 18 slots to just put in whatever the fuck you want. Like whatever hand traps, whatever non-engine you have, so on and so forth. It depends on, it's going to look different for everyone because obviously most hand traps are URs, so it's going to be based on your budget, which ones you actually own. But yeah, so the core itself is going to be 1 Mandarin, 3 Seahorse, 3 Blue Tank, 3 Pascal. It's just 3 of all the good names, 3 Spring Girl, Extender, 3 Trickstar, Aqua Angel. Show me that hand. 1 Desires because we don't have Called by or Crossout, so like it's good for it's just draw 2. It's pot agree. Like you run mainly 3 of, so it's fine. You could run a second Battle Ocean if you're really afraid of banishing it off Desires if you want. Yeah, 2 Marincess Dive, 1 Battle Ocean is the minimum you need, and then 1 Marincess Wave, which if you own the Link 3, like if you have actual Marincess URs like Coral Triangle, you would only ever run 1 Marincess Wave. If you don't have Coral Triangle, which searches Marincess Wave, you could consider running more copies of Marincess Wave because this is like the best card in the deck. It's basically an imperm that also makes all your monsters into towers for the rest of the turn, and nobody ever knows about the second part of that effect. Like, nobody ever realizes that the rest of your monsters are all unaffected, so they just forget, they just forgore, and then play into it, and then you're like, oh, sweet, thanks, but... yeah. So, the thing about this deck is, number one, we're in the Link group, so you should play against less Orcus and, Sky Striker. Like, ideally, if the event works properly, you shouldn't play against any of them at all, but, like, if there's too many Link players, you will play them at minimum, like the least amount you can. And this deck, This deck fucking randomly destroys Lunalight, especially the Lunalight in this event that only ends on one Liger Dancer. Like this is on one of the decks that has the best matchup versus Lunalight. I'm not even joking because we have this card called Bastila Lima, Marincess Bastila Lima. So nobody knows what the fuck this card does if they don't actually play Marincess. Basically, this is random opening if it's in your graveyard. So what you do is you summon NBT. And NBT will dump Bastila Lima. And then their one Liger Dancer, their one Regeki pop, is not gonna do shit. Because you literally just have this in the grave to protect. And then their Liger Dancer does nothing. And then you can easily make a big monster. Because Battle Ocean gives all your Marincess Link monsters huge attack, so you can just go into like any Link 3 or higher, and then it will have enough attack to run over a Liger Dancer, and then like that's literally that's it. It doesn't even matter that they have a spell Trap Negate, because when you activate Battle Ocean and they negate it, this goes to the graveyard. Alright, cool. Anyways, link off Marincess Coral Enemy, add the Battle Ocean back to hand, reactivate Battle Ocean, make Marble Rock, add the Battle Ocean back to hand, reactivate Battle Ocean. Cool, go next. Like unironically, this deck like terrorizes Lunalight in this event. I don't know how popular Lunalight is. Like that deck might just not be as good as I thought it would be. So like in that case, people might deviate to other fusion decks and other Xyz based decks. But yeah, if you ever play against Lunalight, like this deck, and not to mention you have room for 18 hand traps. So like for example, obviously we include the bundles at minimum. So like these are all like the free stuff you get from the bundle. Tactics is decent. Droplet is decent because you can send your monsters that are equipped from Battle Ocean as free sends for Droplet, although that's more of a going first card play. Dominus Impulse is good in this deck because this is an all water deck. And Droll, Crow is good against fusion decks generally. It's also good against Pearly because you can Crow the what's it called, the memories out of the grave so that the Black Cat doesn't Xyz summon. So like this card is good against both fusion decks and what I expect to be some popular Xyz decks. And then you have Bestials as options as well. Probably I would probably only consider running Bestials if you have Magnemite yourself. But these, again, Bestials are also notoriously good against fusion decks, because most fusion decks are light and dark based, specifically dark based. So there's one thing. Like just goes to show you, there's so much room for hand traps. Like you could run, like there's so much room to run whatever you want. Here, there's still 6 slots for like whatever hand traps, and obviously, again, because you probably own multiple copies of Ash, you probably own multiple copies of Imperm, just go ahead and play these staples that you probably own. Like, I'm just showing the minimum, but, like, most people will have more staples, more copies of UR staples than I'm showing right here, this exactly. But yeah, that's basically the gist of, like, the main deck. And the extra deck is, like, just two of each, mostly 2 Blue Slug, 2 Sea Angel, 2 Coral Enemy, 1 Crystal Heart. If you want, you can make your own towers. That's a bigger towers than the Liger Dancer. 1 Splash Mage just for lines where you get you are low on monsters. 1 area comes up more if you actually play stuff like Bestials, because you could link it off into a water monster. But if you get Nibiru, this is also a way to turn the Nibiru into a water monster. Haggard Lizardos is another way to play around Nibiru, although Haggard Lizardos only really works if you own Coral Triangle, because Coral Triangle has a soul charge effect if you control no monsters. So like if you get Nibiru, you could theoretically make a Haggard, clear your field, and then with the Coral Triangle in graveyard, then you can use Coral Triangle to soul charge back and recover that way. But like obviously that only works if you own this card. But it is like a water link monster you can go into. SP Liller Knights, another option. Again, I should probably put SP just as a generic option for any link-based deck. Double Marble Rock. You would only run 2 Marble Rock if you don't own Coral Triangle. Again, if you own Coral Triangle, replace 1 Marble Rock with Coral Triangle. Same with Great Bubble Reef. Replace a Great Bubble Reef with Aqua Argonaut if you own one. Since this is just another link for that gives you more options. 1's Heat Soul and 1 is a Spell and Trap Negate. And Zealantis is very good, obviously. So like if you still have a Zealantis, which I feel like most people that have been playing for a while do, then obviously you put in Xylantis, you waterlock yourself, you banish the field, none of your opponent's monsters comes back if they're not water. Also, you could run stuff like Gamma Seal if you're really worried about Kaijus. So like this is very funny. But if you have Xylantis with a Kaiju, you Kaiju your opponent, right? Then you Xylantis, and then everything goes back to its original owner's side of the field. So the Gamma Seal that you gave them comes back to your side of the field. So you get an extra body, a free water monster just for free, like a free 2200 attack. So like you can actually do a lot of OTKs very easily if you draw a Gamma Seal and can get to Xylantis. So yeah, that's very funny. But I mean, this is fucking Marincess, okay? Like it is, you got the gist of it. You got the core cards, and then you got that there's tons of room for hand traps, and then you have an extra deck like this with these are the 3 UR options that will improve the deck if you own them. Okay, so full disclosure, I am not as confident about this deck right here as I was, with Marincess, with Lynx, because I actually really like the Xyz Loaners for the Xyz group, which I probably mentioned earlier, and I am not confident that this deck in particular is actually better than the Loaners. However, I just want to give, more additional options you can play for budget options, and this deck unironically plays Neymar Rabbit. And anytime you got a chance to play with Neymar Rabbit, you got to take it, right? Like, what better situation to play this thing? Because I don't think 99% of people do not have a use for this card. And it's so sick. It's like a royal rare Neymar, but like you have no use for it. So here's a use for it. Suships, okay? Budget Suships. Now, the way, how this deck works is this is going to be a really wild, a really out-of-the-box strategy, okay? You're going to be making rank 4s. And blinding second. And that's pretty much it. Also, you can make rank 5s because Gun can Suship Uni. It lets you make rank 5s as well. So you can make rank 4s or rank 5s. So yeah, and you're basically blinding second. Obviously, you're blinding second. So if you owned other staples, like for example, if you owned Primite cards, you could actually play this as a going first deck. Like if you had effort barrels and lorry loads, you can play like Primate control with drill beam, and then like just play rank 4 control, and then play like a Utopic Draco Future turbo with this. And that's a way to play this going first. But obviously that's all of those cards I mentioned are URs. So for a budget build, I'm gonna assume not everyone has access to all those URs. So as a blind second build, the blind second build doesn't need all of those URs. You just need like the core Suship cards, which we're maxing out on 3 of each. Basically, if you open any combination of 2 Suship cards, or like one of these Suship cards with any Gunkan Suship Shari Red, you should be able to get a rank 4 or 2 on the field. And yeah, so this is an Xyz decks, and you're blinding second, so some matchups are going to be weird. Like if you play against Towers decks, like Luna Knight, for example, I think you actually have a decent chance. I think Luna Knight actually kind of... The more I'm talking about Luna Knight and how to counter Luna Knight, the more I'm realizing Luna Knight just might not be that good at all. Because like there's very easy, even budget counters to it. Like I'm showing you right here, like Gamma Seal and Herald of the Abyss. And like against Striker, like normally a fully budget deck would have no shot against full blind second Striker. But if you just make the blind second deck go first by winning the coin flip, then you yourself are playing an OTK blind second deck, then there's your chance to beat Striker right there. So yeah, half the time it works all the time. Yeah, especially about Gunkan Suship Uni, like this is kind of the best one, because this with any Gunkan Suship Shari lets you special summon both out of your hand, and then you modulate the level, and then you can add another Gunkan Suship Shari from your deck to hand. So if you can enable a Gunkan Suship Uni with a Shari, then that gets you pretty much almost another rank 4 right there. And if you can stick 2 rank 4s, you usually have enough to go for a game one way or another. And like obviously, Neymar Rabbit gets 2 Gunkan Suship Sharis out of your deck, so you can summon your Ikuras and Shirals, and it also gets you to rank 4. Like this card's actually pretty neat. Also, like you could, I guess I didn't mention this here, but obviously if you own 7th Tachyon, so you can play 7th Tachyon to search Primite Effort Barrel by playing a Giant Hand if you own it, but you can also play 7th 7 Tachyon with Batlin Boxer 105 stars Cestus. This lets you add any Gunkin Suship monster from your deck to your hand, because they're all level 4 fire monsters. You can even include a C105. Okay, you probably don't include that because this is a fucking UR, and that's actually makes it expensive. It makes you unable to search Uni unless you want to spend URs on that shit. Okay, that's kind of ass, but okay, whatever. We don't need to add Uni. Just add any of these 2 ships. You can also play a giant hand, and a giant hand lets you search Neymar Rabbit with 7 Tachyon. This is assuming you own 7 Tachyon. I know that's another UR, so obviously it's not necessary for the deck, but if you own those cards, you can play them and you can search fucking Neymar Rabbit by revealing Giant Hand. So, just imagine the look on your face, on your opponent's faces when you go 7 Tachyons, summon 2 Gunkin Suship Shardis. And yeah, we have a triple Unexpected Die, triple Primate Roar. These are just more ways to get Shardy out of your deck, more extenders. Painful Decision adds a Shardy to your hand, so like, you just want to have Shardy access at all times. That's how you enable all the rank 4s. And then some engine requirements. So we're playing the Xyz armor package too, because the Xyz armor package, relatively low rarity, and it puts up a lot of damage for rank 4s as well, which I'll get to, like, I'll explain more in depth once we get to the extra deck. But yeah, obviously we also have a double or nothing, just the classic OG way to OTK. Utopia is, I believe, from the structure deck, so you can just buy a structure deck and you have access to Utopia double OTK with double or nothing. Just don't draw this card forehead. But again, if you run 7 Tachyon, you can put this card back if you draw it. So that's neat. And then 1 Gunkin Suship Catches of the Day. I think this card's kind of ass. I'm not even sure you should play this, to be honest. But basically, when you make Shiral with Shiral, you get to add a Gunkin spell trap from your deck to your hand, and this is like honestly the least bad one. So might as well get a free card. It adds a Gunkin Suship to your hand. The problem is that it lets your opponent choose which one to add. So they're always going to add the worst one to your hand. Like if you use a Shiral to make this Shiral, they're just gonna give you another Shiral, and you've probably already used it. So it's kind of ass. But yeah, this card's not great. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really heavily considering cutting it and just making Shiral as hand trap bait, because this was basically said draw 1, add 1. Opponents are probably gonna hand trap that. So even without knowing you played this card. And then the rest is just board breakers, whatever board breakers you own. So these are budget board breakers. These specifically beat towers, and Gamma Seal also destroys like most striker setups unless they like set linkage or they have like a droplets, because otherwise then their Widow Anchors are also dead. But yeah, Gamma Seal for OTK, Herald of the Abyss, more ways to out like Liger Dancer or other stuff. Droplet tactics. Obviously there are staples that you probably do own that make this deck a lot better. For example, triple like Fool Lost. You are a blind second deck. There's no downside for playing Fool Lost. So like if you own Fool Lost, go ahead, throw Fool Lost in here. If you own Lightning Storm and Heavy Storm and real back removal, play more copies of Heavy Storm, Lightning Storm, and Duster, obviously. But if you don't have all these UR staple spell trap removals, you have 2 options. You can either play Twin Twisters, which is like it's back removal, but it requires you to discard a card. It's an SR, or you can play Hey Trunade, which Hey Trunade is mass back removal. The unfortunate part is that it doesn't return face-up spell traps, so if you play against Orchist and they have a Babble on the field, it's not going to return the Babble. So generally, Twin Twisters is more reliable, but it also has a bigger cost. But like either one of those is fine if you don't have Duster, Heavy Storm, and Lightning Storm. You will have the one Lightning Storm from the bundle though, so there's that at least. And yeah, for the extra deck, these are just like the rank 4s, so obviously you need these 2 for the Utopia OTK. Dugars lets you OTK by doubling attack points. For example, Ikura can can attack twice. So if you go Dugars double Ikura, that's 8800 direct, or not direct, but 8800 damage. Right, there's another way to OTK. Veipartu, basically, this is like the this is the Infernal Flame Banshee for vanillas. You another generic rank 4 searcher. You make this, you add a Shari to your hand. You know, simple as that. Shiral, as mentioned, it adds this. It's kind of a bait, but like whatever. As Sophia, it's just cheap generic removal. Utopic Ray Lancer is the other most common way you're gonna OTK. If not with Utopia and like Utopia double, then you're gonna most likely OTK with Utopic Ray Lancer, oftentimes doubled with Dugaris. If you have any spare spell, any spare, what's it called, spell card, which you will, because you go through the armor package, and this is the, you know, this puts up a lot of damage, attacks twice, and lowers your opponent's monster's attacks. Volcasaurus is a way to OTK. It's another way to just push damage. Like Volcasaurus into Gaia Charger puts up a lot of damage, and you can again make rank 5s with Uni. Zenmail is a back row removal, so it forces out back row before you commit to your other rank 4 plays with thanks to Uni. Vespacito you put on top of a any rank 4 Uni class. I don't think you ever make this because this is like the worst one. You probably don't even need to play this, to be honest. Like these rank 5s are generally better if you're even going for a rank 5. Xyz Armored Fortress. So Xyz Armored Fortress, you put this over any of these rank 4s. You search 1 to 2. You're gonna search Armored Xyz, and you're gonna search Unveiling Male, and then you can overlay into a Crystal 0 on top of the Fortress, and the Crystal 0 is gonna gain, depending on so Fortress is gonna have 1 material, so the Crystal 0 is gonna be at like 2700. So like it's not a too much attack gain, but if it's equipped with a Unveiling Mail, for example, you could go Armored Xyz, equip the Armored Xyz, equip Xyz from your graveyard to this, and then at the end of the damage step, you can attack twice with Crystal 0, so you can attack twice with the Crystal 0, and then if you have the Unveiling Mail equipped with, once returned during the if this card battles, so quick effect, you can do this after attacking twice. You can use this as a quick effect in the battle phase to overlay. Okay, no, that's okay. That actually doesn't work. That only works if you own Crystal Full Armor Dark Knight Lancer. This is this card's really good. If you happen to have a Full Armor Dark Knight Lancer, it makes OTKing so much easier because this lets you suck your opponent's board, suck Master 3000, and then also lets you trigger Unveiling Mail to get an extra Xyz in the battle phase to get an extra damage output. Like this is the better version of Gaia Charger, but Gaia Charger is like the budget version, and this is the UR version. Obviously, Zeus as well. You probably have a Zeus. If you have a Zeus, feel free to put it in here. But like these are just all the SR and below options. And yeah, this is Suship with Neymar. Okay, and now for the fusion budget deck. Technically this is budget. This entire main deck is just SRs if you don't care about the alt arts, which you know, as you can see here, I have a distinct lack of alternate arts. I am a poor man's Dragonmaid player, so yes, you can technically play this without any URs. I will say there's one UR in particular that would be really helpful, and that's Lady's Dragonmaid. This is like arguably the most important card in the deck, especially in this format, because you don't have access to Link monsters, which means you don't have access to Seal. So without Hieratic Seal, this is pretty much your only aggressive turn 1 play. And frankly, if this is the only, technically this is only one UR that you need to play to, you know, really help this deck, I would probably consider playing the Loners if I didn't own at least one copy of Lady's Dragonmaid, which you may not, because it's from a pack, and if you didn't roll from that pack and you didn't buy the bundle, you may not have a copy of this card. If you bought the bundle, you know, just because, you know, for collector's purposes, for completion purposes, you might randomly have this card, and then you can actually just play Dragonmaid, and it would be a lot better. But this card is really important to the deck. I would like not seriously consider playing this deck if I didn't plan on at least getting a Ladies Dragonmaid. Like, yes, this is still technically playable. I'm not sure if this is actually better than like one of the Fusion Loaner decks without this though. And yeah, but like this is the only expensive card in the deck. The rest of the deck, like I mean, technically Mortal of Furious is like a UR, but this isn't really necessary at all. Like the rest of the cards are SRs or in the structure deck. So this is really the only piece of like expensive investment, unfortunately. And like as you can see here, the main core is like pretty straightforward. So you have like one nurse, triple kitchen, triple parlor, triple chamber, one of each of the dragons, Ernest, Tinkek, Lorpar, I don't even know how to pronounce this, Karamba, a dark and evaporation dragon randomly because you know, space, because we don't have like, you gotta fill in the lack of Maxi and called by and cross and stuff like that. Triple hospitality, one changeover, double tidying, and basically every Dragonmaid card except fucking Laundry Dragonmaid. Unfortunately, it's 2025. Laundry Dragonmaid still does not really serve a purpose in actual Dragonmaid, unfortunately. So she's still being left behind. But yeah. As for the staples, so obviously, you know, staples is just like whatever hand traps you own. So like, you know, Valor, Trolls, these one-ofs, Ogre, Ash, Bell, these free from URs from the bundles, stuff like that. Among other staples, so one is Sangan Kaiman. If you are a Chandra player, you can Sangan Kaiman is a staple in Dragonmaid. Because this searches Kitchen Dragonmaid, which is a starter. I don't know how common people still have Tenpai are, but like, you know, I feel like a lot of people own Tenpai even if they don't play it. So like, if you just randomly have a Kaiman, throw it in here, just another starter, because God knows this deck needs starters, because this deck, you can see, it's quite low on starters. Another thing is Super Poly. If you own a Super Poly, obviously this is a fusion deck, so you can play Super Poly. Look at all these Super Poly targets right here that you do probably own. You know, Trip Gaming, Almarduke, Muddragon, Garura, Earth Golem, Madagascar, Dragocepelia. I even threw a Starving Venom in here because you can hard make Starving Venom if for some reason you want to, even because it is a Dragon Fusion monster. And Light and Darkness, Dragon Lord. So this is not. I don't think this is necessary. I'm not even sure you can make this. I think you have to run like not Dark Evaporation Dragon. I think you have to run Light and Sublimation Dragon, because that's how you get a light. And I don't see any other good light monsters. Like I guess you can fuse with your own House Dragonmaid after you like Evaporation send Chaos Star Source to make your House Dragonmaid a level 8. I mean that's like one way to make this. That's like maybe the only way you would ever make this. So like this is not really a thing. It's just if you randomly own this, you know, you can play it. And another thing is the Bestials are legal. So if you own the Bestials, but if you don't own Ladies Dragonmaid, but if you do own the Bestials, then the Bestials also are very good, because like they're not as good as they could be, because you can't just link them off into seals. But this is a dragon deck, and these are high level dragons that let you fuse off, and you need high level dragons to fuse into shell. So having a constant supply of Bestials is also good. Also, Bestials may or may not be good against the format. Like if you play against Orchist, you know, Bestials are pretty good against that deck, so you can just win off Bestial control. Like, you know, just a bunch of these. Maybe not Baldrake, maybe like, or maybe not Sarnier, but like Baldrake, especially if you own Magnum. If you have Magnamut and Lubellion and Regained, which I mean Regained's an SR, so that's not it. But if you have like Lubellion and Magnamut, then this deck gets significantly better, because then you have a grinding engine too, with like the Regain and stuff like that. And that's another win con you can have with this deck. So that's decent. Obviously, you see in the extra deck has tons of space because there's no links. So like, unless you want to play Pot of Extravagance, which I don't recommend, because then you would need multiple ladies. So like, actually that probably don't scratch that idea. But because there's no links, you have tons of space. Like you only really need one Shao and like 2 House. Nobody even runs more than 1 and 2 in like standard. But you know, what else are you gonna run? These are free from the structure deck, so they don't cost anything extra. But you know, Xiao's a Philly, Xiao's and House Dragonmaid, a Philly Reggie's. What obviously the ladies I've talked about before is quite important if you do own it. It's Chaos Star Source, and then like yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I can't even fill out the extra deck. This is why like if you have a Super Poly, it's nice because you don't care about the rest of your extra deck space because you can't. It doesn't like honestly it doesn't matter. So that's why Super Poly recommended, and obviously Lubelia. Like let's say if you own all these Bistios and you can play something like this actually looks somewhat this looks way more decent. And let's say you have more copies of Ash and more copies of Imperm, like this looks very decent. If you own like I would say if you own either Ladies Dragonmaid or the Bestial package, like this deck is actually pretty decent. If you don't own either, I would maybe consider looking elsewhere for like a budget option. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's Dragonmaid. The most part, the core is all from a structure deck. It's just this one card from the core is like outside the pack. But yeah. So yeah, hopefully, even if you don't somehow have a pure Fusion, Xyz, or Link deck that you feel comfortable with playing in this event, hopefully I've given you at least some idea of what you can play for cheap. And by that I mean like just play the loners for an easy way out if you don't want to think too hard. That's that's probably my best advice. But yeah, if you're not on a budget, or if more likely you have a very vast card pool, and you have a lot of URs and you think you might have a good deck, go check out the other video I made showcasing what I think are some of the best decks for this event. And even if you don't have like a vast card pool, or like if you're relatively new, still go check out that video because those will probably cover what I think are also going to be the most played decks for this event. So it's good to know what you're going to go up against as well, and which decks you may want to avoid, and to decide which group you want to play in if you don't want to play in all three, which I'm gonna do. But that's because I'm like sick in the head. But yeah, again, let me know what you guys are playing in this event, which is gonna literally be, by the time I upload this, it's gonna be, the event might even be just like 1 hour or less away. And let me know if there's any other any obvious budget options that I missed out on that also could help people watching this video in the comments. Thank you.